As I was explaining earlier, Sherry, we usually use the official statistics, which was taken in 2011. And based on the 2011, in the whole of BC, British Columbia, it's about 136,000. And the estimate for Metro Vancouver is over 112,000. So the vast majority are residing here in Metro Vancouver. They are in different areas. So, of course, we have many in the health sector, but we have many engineers, architects, professionals, and at the same time, we also have temporary foreign workers. So we are present in different areas across the different sectors here in BC. Marami tayong professionals and at the same time doing caregiving, domestic, and temporary work. Almost every month na dadagdagan yung association. This is a very active community here in Vancouver. The estimate we have is that nearly 200 associations here in Metro Vancouver. And some of them are, of course, professional-based. Meron tayong association of engineers, meron din tayong mga CPA, but many are based on their regional affiliation way back in the Philippines, like Ilonggo, Ilocano, Bicol, Cebuano, and the rest. So in different ways and form. Meron din yung mga associations based on their school, like UP, Ateneo, De La Salle. So we have various associations, and many of them are very active. And if you could actually come back here in June during the celebration of Philippine independence, it's like a month-long celebration. Meron tayo mga Filipino fiesta being done all across Metro Vancouver. Big fiesta in the park and outdoors, and of course various Philippine Independence Day celebration and gala. So it's a very busy month, and in fact we call it Philippines-Canada Friendship Month because of the month-long activities between the Philippines and our friends here in Vancouver, in Canada in general. Yung Pista ng Bayan, that's just one, but that one is here in Vancouver. Meron din tayo sa North Vancouver, and that's actually bigger. Meron din sa Surrey and sa Richmond. These are the different municipalities across Metro Vancouver. Okay, so big events yun. And this month, that will be in June, and this month in May, we have smaller activities, but equally very important. One activity is the launching of a special collection at the University of British Columbia, UBC, Museum of Anthropology. So collection to, a special collection from a Filipino curator and artist, Mr. Texon, and this has been donated to the UBC. So that will be launched. And also this month, we'll be celebrating yung Asian Heritage Month. So there is, again, a celebration of Asian culture and heritage here in BC and here in Vancouver. One thing unique about Vancouver is it is, and BC for that matter, it's the gateway to the Asia Pacific. So there is a big Asian community here. So Chinese, Indian, Japanese, Korean, and of course Filipino. In fact, the Filipino is one of the fastest growing ethnic communities here. And in terms of number, we are placed as number 3 of the highest number migrants here.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you work hand in hand, the Consulate and the Filipino community?
We are actively engaged in the work of the community. We practically, yung weekend namin is full, attending various community events, and in fact, we try to divide that among the different officers of the consulate. So as much as possible, we want to be represented. But in some cases, talagang sabay-sabay, so it gets very difficult. But we are engaged with them, and in fact, many of them are willing to partner with the consulate in terms of their activities. So we have excellent relations, I would say, with the Filipino community here in Vancouver. One concern recently is the issue of the temporary foreign workers, because this year, in particular last month, nag-kick in na yung regulation ng federal regulation ng Canada for those who have stayed here for 4 years and those who were unable to get other means to stay here continually, meaning to say residency or new work permit, they are being asked to leave the country because that was the terms of the work permit that they would have. So that is a concern for some members of the community. But as we explained to them, this issue is an issue that is being seriously considered and looked at not just by the consulate but by our foreign service here in Canada. We convey the concerns and issues whenever we meet with our counterparts in the federal government. And in my own experience, I take this up whenever we conduct consular outreach missions in the provinces or territories within our jurisdiction. Well, I'm happy to report to you, Sherry, that Vancouver is one of the leading posts across the entire Foreign Service in terms of the total number of voters that we have registered. If I'm not mistaken, we are in the top 10. So, we are doing very well in terms of encouraging new registrants for the election. In fact, yung target namin, we have reached that already last February. And now we are continually pushing for more registrants. We are actively promoting that in our consular outreach. And at the same time, if you notice, meron ng dumadating na mga cruise ships, di ba? We also conduct registration on board those cruise ships for the Filipino seafarers working on board. This week lang medyo busy because of the preparation of the visit, but after this, we will resume our registration on board those cruise ships calling at Vancouver Port. Yes, we are educating our community about the benefits of being a dual citizen, and today is very special because nag-conduct kami na oath-taking, and I think your colleagues have witnessed that. We have some of our kababayans availing themselves of the benefit of reacquiring Filipino citizenship. So, yeah, they're very happy with that. In fact, many of them are looking forward to going back home, visiting, and in fact, staying there for a longer time. To me, they are very hospitable, very generous. For one, here in Canada, they allow our people, our workers, to eventually gain permanent residency here and eventually become Canadian citizens. So there is a pathway for them to if they choose to remain here in Canada. So that's available. There is the traditional avenue would be, they call it the provincial nominee program. So there is a program for BC, Alberta, and the rest. So they would nominate certain individuals to for that program to gain residency and eventually citizenship. But on top of that, there are other avenues. Ngayon, meron silang yung express entry system for those who have certain qualifications in certain fields that are needed by the demands here in Canada. So maraming avenues. So it's actually been very good for many of our kababayans coming here initially to work, but eventually they decide to stay on and become residents here. Firstly, the community is very happy that the President is coming. Initially, we thought hindi kasamang Vancouver because it was the last in terms of the itinerary of the President. That was confirmed. So when we learned about it and we shared the information with the community, they were very happy and very eager to see and welcome the President. So they all look forward to seeing him during the Filipino community event on Saturday when he arrives here. So we're looking forward to that. And as far as the meeting with the Premier Christy Clark, Premier Clark is very supportive of the work here of the consulate and of course of the work here of the community. And Premier Clark is very happy to receive the President here in Vancouver. And in their meeting, I would imagine one of the big talking points will be the agreement that will be signed between the Philippines and BC, and that is the MOU, or the Memorandum of Understanding on human resources cooperation on deployment and development. So we are optimistic that that will be signed and completed and finalized by the time the President arrives here on Saturday. In fact, just today I'm still in touch by emails to the BC ministry in charge with that, because there is one or two more items that we need to finalize. But I'm very confident that we can agree on that and have the agreement finalized before the visit of the President. The signing will be done. We plan to do it during the event of the community, so that the community will see that this is one of the major outcomes of the visit of the President. Ang impact nun is two things. Well, for one, on the BC side, because they need workers here on certain skills and categories. BC is one of the fastest growing jurisdiction here in Canada, and they need workers in many fields. They are expanding, for example, yung development nila ng natural resources, in particular yung LNG. So they need welders, pipe fitters, engineers, and the rest. So because hindi lahat to masusupply domestically, so they are looking at other sources of workers. And of course, one would be the Philippines, and we are recognized to have very good workers with solid, strong credentials. So that's one. And on the part of the Philippines, one big value of this agreement is that it's looking not just at the supply or deployment of workers, but it's also looking at helping facilitate the recognition of their credentials. Meaning to say, kung engineer ka, the pathway towards recognizing your profession as an engineer will be clearly identified, and hopefully you'll be able to meet that, and you'll be able to practice completely your profession in that field. So, nandun yun. And it's also looking at their eventual settlement here in BC, because as I said, this is a very welcoming country, and BC in particular as a jurisdiction. So they would like to see yung workers na nag-train na dito, nag-work na, and the rest to continue to contribute to the local economy and hopefully reside here. So for us, again, that will be an option to be decided by our workers. Kung gusto nilang mag-remain dito, that's one. Or if they would like to go back to the Philippines afterwards, again, that's their option. So to me, it's a win-win scenario. Essentially, what will happen is that the process of the hiring of the workers will be more transparent. It will be ethical, and it will be compliant to the regulations both of the Philippines and BC. So ibig sabihin, yung ating workers, they are assured that there will be social safety nets, whatever will happen in terms of their employment. Ako, Sherry, I'm very happy. It's a big honor and privilege to welcome the President here in Vancouver. So in the Foreign Service, I've been in the Foreign Service for over 20 years, and I've had the privilege of witnessing other visits in my previous posts in China, in Beijing, and in London in the UK. But this is the first time for me as head of post to receive a sitting president on a state visit. So I'm personally looking forward to that, and we're doing our best to make sure that everything will be prepared well and good for the president. And we're hoping that this indeed will be an opportunity to reconnect to the diaspora here in Canada. We have a very big number, and for us here in Vancouver, we also cover other jurisdictions like Alberta, Yukon, and the Northwest Territories. And we have invited our kababayans from those far places to come on Saturday. And some of them have said that they will come. So it will be a big fiesta, a big celebration, and I'm very happy to see really Filipinos all across this big country coming over and welcoming the President. So we're all very eager and looking forward to that. Sa ating po mga kababayan, so just very happy again to welcome the President, and of course we are very happy, most especially sa very positive performance ng ating economy because of the good governance, transparency that is being championed by President Aquino, and this is the opportunity for us to meet him in person, and also an opportunity for us to open new doors to increase cooperation in terms of trade, investment, tourism between the Philippines and British Columbia and the Philippines and Canada in general. So maraming salamat for this opportunity.